Hey everybody, it's the Salty Pug Lord. How y'all been doing? Well, today on what I hope is the last episode of the Beginner's Guide to Empyrion Alpha 10, we're going to talk about getting your first hover vehicle. Now, if this were not your very first game, I would tell you to skip hover vehicles entirely and just suffer through with the motorcycle until you have enough resources to get a simple SV. Maybe not necessarily a warp-capable one, maybe just the prefab Blackbird that's already in the game, since it's an excellent beginner SV. But since this is your first game, you probably are going to want to have a hover vessel because of the incredibly low cost. And speaking of a decent hover vessel, we need to talk about the Steam Workshop. The Steam Workshop is a place where people who make content in a game can upload that content to Steam and share it with everybody else, and other people can have that content in their game. In the case of Empyrion, this usually means hover vessels, small vessels, capital vessels, bases. Although in other places, maybe it's a fancy hat for your character to wear. In any event, I want to show you how to get to the Empyrion Steam Workshop, and I want to recommend a first HV for you, which I think is an excellent beginner HV, one that I use in my own games. So, first of all, obviously you have to open Steam. Then you need to go to Library and Games. Then select Empyrion Galactic Survival from your list of games. Now you can see there's a Browse the Workshop button right here. Click that. And at this point we are in the workshop for Empyrion Galactic Survival, and you can see all these different blueprints that people have made. Amazing stuff here. There's a lot of trash too, but there's an incredible number of diamonds buried in this trash. Because we know exactly what we want, we're just going to type it in. This is the Micro Pup Pico. Here it is right here, the Pico Micro Pup Level 5. You can see this one is made for Alpha 10. That is important because the container system in Alpha 10 changed quite a bit. And once you're on the Pico Micro Pup page, just click this subscribe button right here. And now what's going to happen is the next time you start up Empyrion, this blueprint will appear in your Blueprints menu, and you'll be able to make this. Now, there's a couple things I want to talk about with this before we actually get into the game, so let's do a little bit of a review. This is the perfect image here. This Pico Micropup has a harvester bar on it. This bar spins and chops down trees. It also has a constructor. And the reason it's important to have both those things, you can see one constructor, and then it has this harvester bar. This guy can chop down trees, put the wood into the constructor, and turn the wood into biofuel. That is one reason why this is an amazing beginner's HV, because this thing can fuel itself. All you have to do is drive around, chop trees, and turn them into biofuel. This thing can keep its own fuel tank full. The other thing that makes this an amazing beginner HV is the resource cost. You can see over here, the only resources this thing takes are iron, copper, silicon, and carbon substrate. All of these are readily available right near your starting location. Iron, copper, and silicon, there's those three deposits right around your starter base. And you can see nothing here is over 200 resources, so that means you only have to mine 100 ore. The ores double into ingots, and so now if you can get 100 of each kind of ore, in fact 75 for some of these or 60 for some of these, you will be able to afford this. The last thing that makes this an amazing beginner's hover vehicle, you can see that it has these two Gatling guns down here. Now these are fixed to the chassis. You have to aim the whole hover vehicle to aim those, but it also has a turret. And the turret can be watching your back and shooting things trying to sneak up behind you while you're looking at things in the front. So this is the hover vessel that I would recommend for your very first game. It's incredibly affordable, it's got great defense, and it can keep itself fueled, so you'll never have to worry about getting promethium to fuel it. You just chop down trees. So once you've got that subscribed, go ahead and start Empyrion, and I will show you how we build this in the game. So here we are back in game, and I've gone into my constructor, and I've queued up a bunch of the stuff that I'm going to need to make the drill pup. And I'm just going to let this run overnight to do all this stuff overnight. It'll finish overnight, and then it'll all be ready in the morning. Stop that. Alright, it's the morning, and we've got everything we need. So let's just go ahead and put this in our hotbar. Now, there's a keyboard shortcut to get into the blueprints menu, and it's F2. As you can see, I've got a lot of different blueprints in here. The game comes with a bunch of prefabs, and the prefab I mentioned earlier, the SV prefab Tier 2, I call it the Blackbird. This is an amazing flying vehicle, especially for early game scouting of the full planet. The only problem is that it will cost you Sathium. Sathium can be gotten from hardened steel plates, so if you disassemble enough hardened steel or combat steel from wrecks, you will be able to afford this relatively early in the early game. The only problem is it is unlock level 7, so you will need to bring your XP up to level 7 before you can get this. For your first game, stick with the Pico Micro Pup that we just got from the Steam Workshop, okay? Now, once you have all the resources that you need, you have to click on this To Factory button. And then we can just start dumping stuff in here. So we need 198 copper. Here's our 198 copper. You can see it turns green to show we've got it. We need 161 silicon. We got 169 here. I'm going to go ahead and go over by a little bit. It turns out that the factory will keep around extra resources if you dump extra resources in here. So don't feel too bad about going over by a little. Iron, we need 122. We have 170. Well, that's a little excessive. Let's see if we can make it a little closer. There we go. And finally, we need 161 carbon substrate. I've only got 160, so I'm going to go back to my constructor and make one more. Carbon substrate costs wood and stone, so just make yourself some wood and stone and you'll have carbon substrate for days, easy. I only need one of these, so. F2 to get the blueprints, 1 carbon substrate. You can see we're all green, we're ready to go. At this point you click Start Production. You can see it says 15 minutes 37 seconds. And I will cut you guys back in when the construction has finished. I thought spawning the pup in at night make things a little more dramatic. So let's go ahead and hit F2 to get our blueprints. You can see up here under completed we have this guy. And all we have to do is click spawn, and it'll say, okay, where do you want it? We'll just put him right there. And here is our new Pico Micro Pup. Fully armed, capable of harvesting its own fuel. Now we just need to put a little fuel in it to get it started, and we'll be good to go. So let's go get 1 can of biofuel. Now if we point at this guy, and we press the P key to get the vehicle's control panel up, we can see that there's the fuel tank here, so let's manage our fuel. We'll put 1 can of fuel in there, gets its 1% fuel. That's fine for now. But let's go into the devices and go into the container controller. Sorry, no, we want the ore and wood container controller. And we are going to dump some gun cotton and some steel in there. And then we'll go in again. Where is the constructor? We'll go into the constructor. We'll access the small constructor. What we want to do is make ammo. As this thing spawns from the factory, it doesn't have ammo. I didn't assign a container to the constructor, so it thinks it has no ingredients. Let's go the ore and wood. There we go. So those take 15 steel plate and 4 nitrocellulose. I think I'm just going to make, I don't know, 800 of these. The output count is 100, so I just click this 8 times. And I'll just let that chug. And I'm not entirely sure if we have enough fuel for this thing to make all 800 of them. So I think I'm going to go chop down another tree and make another can of fuel. So I spent overnight making a couple things that I think we're going to need to really make this first run of the Pico Pup successful. But first, let's just get in it. Just go up here, look at the cockpit, and press F to get in. So we need to hit P to get the vehicle control panel. Down here you see there's a fuel and manage. Let's manage the fuel. I made 20 biofuel in my constructor in my base. So let's just dump all 20 in there. 17% fuel. I don't think that's going to get us a very long run time. We'll have to turn it on to see. Looks like we have an hour and 12 minutes worth of power left. Good enough, that'll do. Now, another thing that I did was, I went into the container controller ore and wood, and I actually put some logs and some iron ingots in here, and then I went into the constructor, and I told it to make me a bunch of bullets. These 15mm bullets are the bullets that are used by both the turret and by the Gatling guns on the front. My portable constructor in my base cannot make these, but the constructor on the micro-pup actually can make its own ammo. So in addition to being able to make its own fuel from wood, it can make its own ammo, which is really, really great. Alright, so we have control of the ship. I prefer to hit V to go to third-person view, and then we can hold space to raise it up off the ground. I like to go the full 3-meter height. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights by going P to the control panel, going to main, and just turning off lights. I don't think we need lights right now. I'm just turning with the mouse and using W and S to go forward. You can also hover left and right with A and D. But I really want to load up the guns. You can see in the lower right it says Gatling gun ammo 2x0/800. That means I have 800 rounds left, but nothing is loaded in the gun. So 1 and 2 select either your harvester bar on the front, or they select your Gatling guns. You can hit R to just reload the Gatling guns as long as you have put the ammunition in the ammunition box. Ammunition in the wood and ore box will not be seen by the vessel as available ammunition. You have to put it in the ammo storage box, not the ore and wood storage box. So let's just go ahead and give this a test. Maybe there is a tree that needs killing over here. Let's see if we can't kill a tree. There we go. Wow, those are powerful. A lot more powerful than my handheld stuff. I'm going to reload it again. And my turret is going off on its own. Shocking. Let's turn the turret completely off, or at least give it some saner settings. If we hit P to get into the vehicle control panel and then we go to devices, we can scroll down here until we find the minigun turret. Now you can see right now, this will shoot at player factions. Well, I don't want to shoot at player factions. It will shoot at NPC factions. I really don't want to shoot at NPC factions either. I don't want to piss off the Talon by shooting at them, and I don't want to piss off the Polaris by shooting at them. Pissing off the Xerax is okay. No problem there. I don't want to shoot at prey animals. They're not dangerous to me. I'm happy with it shooting at predators and aliens. Also, I don't want to shoot at vessels or bases. I just want to shoot at NPCs like animals, drones, or maybe other players, but I'm not shooting at player factions. We're not shooting at hover vessels, small vessels, capital vessels, or bases, so it doesn't matter whether these are checked or not. But this configuration, Predator, Alien, and NPC drones, is what I recommend you set your minigun turret to, so that it doesn't waste all your ammo shooting at harmless things that won't hurt you. Okay. Now I had low ammo, so I made some more ammo. I've also brought along some fruit juice and some natural sweetener. Do you see it says effective against dermal burn? If I should run into one of those plasma beetles again, that will actually help me out, cure my dermal burn, and I won't have to die from it. In addition, you can see I've got 5 energy bars and 3 berry juice over here. Berry juice are like the ghetto health kits, and energy bar are the food. These are also kind of like health, but they're not as good as the berry juice, but it's okay. Better to have some health than none. These also are food and health. So I think we are finally ready to actually pick up where we left off with the Robinson Protocol and go and check out this unknown structure. So let's just start going. If I remember from the map, it's quite a ways, but hey, that's half the fun. Exploration is a wonderful part of this game, so let's go. Boy, that turret is so annoying. I may actually just turn it off entirely from the vehicle control panel. If it annoys me, I'll just go ahead and turn it off, but in the meantime, let's get flying. You can see the hover vessel has no problem with this rough terrain, it just floats right over it. And that's why you would want to use this instead of a motorbike to go everywhere. In addition, it looks like we might be about to go over some water. Well, maybe not, we'll see. The hover vessel can go right over water, the motorbike cannot. So in addition to all the other great things about this hover vessel, going over water is another wonderful one. Now I'd like to show you how to harvest a tree, because harvesting trees is how you're going to get your fuel. You can harvest the logs, they'll go into the ore and wood cargo box, then you can command your constructor to make more fuel for you. So hit number 2 to get your chipper bar out, then left click allows you to run it. Just go right up to a tree and just hold left click. In the lower left you see it says +4 wood logs. So let's hit P to go into the control panel, and we'll go into our ore and wood container controller and access it. You can see we've got 11 logs here, that's great. So let's go back to the main control panel and go to our small constructor, access that. You can see that our small constructor is pulling its inputs and outputs from the controller ore and wood. And if we go over here to our components tab, you can see biofuel. Now I happen to know off the top of my head that each wood log turns into 2 biofuel, so I can make 20 biofuel from 11 logs. So I'm just going to shift click here, 10, 20. And then I'm just going to let that go as I go toward the alien structure, and my hover vessel will be making its own fuel as I'm tooling around. One more thing while I'm in here. Okay, we have 15% fuel, which apparently is 18 more minutes. Alright, let's hope that fuel constructs quickly. I'm going to type number 1 to switch back to my guns, just in case. I'm glad that turret isn't annoying me much more, so hopefully we can see something cool on the way to this unknown structure. Ooh, a desert, that's neat. Whoa! Oof. Okay. Well. So I'm going to skip the Robinson Protocol vessels for now, but we can come back and reactivate it later. I'm kind of curious what my turret is shooting at. A spider. Actually, there's a couple spiders here it's shooting at. Hopefully when they die it'll quit. Alright, good deal. So, very interesting, an unknown structure. Definitely looks like an alien building. Sure, a lot of trees hanging around here, blocking my view. I think I'm going to switch back to my little grinder bar, grind these guys up for fuel, just so I can actually see what the hell's going on. That's much better. Alright. Well, I'm going to leave my hover vessel nearby, but I'm going to kind of leave it in a standby mode, so let's hold C to bring the hover vessel down to the ground. Actually, you know what? It's safer when it's higher off the ground. So we'll just leave it here. I'm going to hit F to get out. And I don't need my light on, so I'll turn my light off. V to go back into first-person view. Make sure my shotgun is reloaded. And let's see what's in here. And there's stairs there. This looks like a door. Oh, what the fuck is that noise? Oh my god, what are you? What are you? You don't look friendly. Oh my god. Press F to access Nightmare. Aptly named. Fuck, dude. That thing is from my nightmares. It's all fangs and alien goo. Nothing I want. Jesus, man. That is scary as fuck. If there were more of those things in there, I don't particularly want to be going in blind with that door just flapping open and shut. So let me show you a little bit of a trick. I happen to know that the Gatling guns on this particular hover vessel are powerful enough to actually damage the blocks of structures. So if I actually put my Gatling guns on that door and then fire at it, I can actually blow it down. Boom. Now those little fuckers will have a lot harder time sneaking up on me. Make sure my weapon's reloaded, it is. Dude, I am so freaky about going in there. I'm gonna pop out my drone with F5 and actually use my drone to go in here and scout, and that way if they kill my drone, no big deal. Huh. Not very big, is it? I don't see anybody else in here. I mean, something could spawn in. It happens. Alright. Careful, careful, my friends. Careful, careful, oh, fuck! Run! Turret! Turret! Save me, turret! Save me, turret! Nice. Hey, thank you, turret. Appreciate your help on that one. That was a lot easier than the first one. Alright, are there any more of you fucking fuckers in here? Any more? Well, I see something cool here. These large oval containers are loot containers, and the weirder the color, the better the loot. So this is a very rare loot container, and let's take a look and see what's in here. Ooh, heavy armor, that's great! That's such a hard thing to get. In fact, you can't manufacture that, you can only buy it. Also, if you choose to sell that, you can make a lot of money, like 50,000 credits. A laser rifle? Well, I don't have laser rifle ammo, and I'm not sure I can manufacture it, but still, I'm happy to have any weaponry I can. Oh, fusion cells are great. We're going to put one of these into the drill pup, and watch how much it fills up the drill pup. And a repair bay, man, that's amazing. A repair bay is something that allows you, if you put it in a base, to automatically repair your vehicles provided you saved a template. I didn't show you template saving, but if you just look in the main menu of your vessel, you'll actually see down here, Save Template. So that will allow you to automatically repair your vessel. Wow, that was a super successful loot run, guys. We got some amazing stuff. Now, there is an armor locker built into this guy, and so if we want to, we actually can put on the heavy armor right now, but I'm not going to. The heavy armor is very restrictive of mobility, and it's very difficult to get around in it. It's great for assaulting corridors, like deep in a POI where there's a lot of monsters, but it's not so great for being out here in the overworld. Anyway, let's get in here and see how our fuel is. We're down to 10% fuel. I think I'm going to go ahead and manage this again. I said we would put one of these fusion cells in here. Remember that when we put a can of biofuel in here, it gave us basically 1% per can? So watch what happens when I put a single fusion cell, value 300 power units in here. Look at that! It gave me 25% fuel. 2 of those will fill it up above 50%, and I have 20! That is such good loot, oh my god. Wow. That was a super successful run. Man, I love those alien structures. I mean, the nightmares are a fucking nightmare, but there were only 2 of them, and my ship's turret helped me out, so that was great. Oh, such a glorious day. Did you all witness me? I think you witnessed me. Having done that, I think it's time to go home. I'm gonna go home, stash my loot, and we'll do a little bit of a quick review about where you might want to go in the game after this. This is the end of the tutorial, by the way. Unless there's a huge outpouring of desire for more of this, I'm probably not going to be doing any more on this tutorial series. I just wanted to get you guys to this point so that you could know what to do and how to get your first vehicle going. You now have the tools to keep yourself healthy at home, keep yourself fed, and you have a vehicle that's more than capable of getting you anywhere in the world. Well, maybe not to the top of a very tall tower. For that you need something that flies. But with this vessel, you can easily get the materials to make a flying vehicle, and you'll be able to get pretty much anywhere you need to go. Where you want to go from here, it's kind of up to you. If your hover vehicle should turn over like this, press and hold left shift, and it will flip itself back over. The piloting still is a little bit flaky on these. It's still an alpha game. Don't fret too much. Hey, thanks for killing that spider, I appreciate that. So I'm going to hold C to lower my vessel down to the ground. And then I'm going to hit Y, which is the key to turn off all the power. Does the same thing as flipping that power control right there. And F to get out of the cockpit. And L to turn my light off, I don't really need that right now. And V to get back in first-person view. Alright, guys. I think that was a very, very successful run, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Looks like my health, my fruit juice is here, ready, and so are 4 vegetables, so this is food. So my base is keeping me healthy and keeping me fed. My hover vessel allows me to go almost anywhere in the world. I can explore, and the turret will protect me. I think, you know, I think things are pretty good right now. Admittedly, my little piddly constructor is kind of cruddy, and my base could be better. I think if I were to continue this series, I would definitely be upgrading my base from here. My next move would be setting out a bunch more solar panels to keep my base powered up, because right now, if we look at the base control panel, you can see that under solar, my average output is 30 power units, so my solar panels only provide about 30 power units, but if we look at main, my consumption, well, the base is off right now, but if we turn it on, my consumption is 57 power units when the base is on. So I consume 57 power units, but I only make 30 power units. You know, eventually the base is going to run out of power. So probably the next thing I would do would be to get a bunch more solar panels. I would probably put 6 out here. And then I would start putting in, like, a refrigerator to store all the extra food that I'm generating. I would probably put in bigger and bigger constructors so that I could make better and better weapons. And then once I had my base to a point where I was happy with it, I could make whatever I wanted to, limited only by unlocking things in the tech tree, then I would probably start saving up for a small vessel. And if you want to see which one that was, then I will just show you right here. The one that I would make on my first game for my first SV, there's no question about it. It would be one that Spange made. Here it is, the Nightshade Mark V. The Nightshade Mark V is made for Alpha 10. It's relatively cheap. You will need to get cobalt from somewhere, probably from raiding POIs. You're probably not going to find a cobalt deposit on your planet. You'll have to raid a base to get it. The great thing about the Nightshade Mark V is that, as I said, it is made for Alpha 10, and in addition, it is warp capable. So, if we go ahead and look at our solar system map here, there are lots of other planets in Empyrion. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4 other planets, other than the one we're on, so there's 5 planets already that you could warp to and have this whole adventure all over again. So there's a lot more to do in the game. This is just the very beginning, that's why there's only 4 episodes in this series. And I am a pretty happy camper. I think I have the makings of a pretty good life here. Real happy with this Pico pup. Very good job, Excalibur. My farm is going to keep me fed and healthy. And it's a beautiful day. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. And I hope that you are staying salty, my friends.